I'm going to start this video off by saying that Busch Gardens Tampa is one of the most beautiful and immersive parks that I have visited to date. That's because this was the first time that I felt that I had been transported to an entirely new location. Located in Tampa Bay, Florida, Busch Gardens Tampa is one of two major parks operated by SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment in Florida, with SeaWorld Orlando being the other, located an hour and a half away. I'll review that park later, but today I'd like to update my coaster count and give my general impressions of the absolute best park that I have visited, Busch Gardens Tampa. My name is Avery, and this is United Coasters. Seeing that this video has posted on Thanksgiving, I want to say that I'm thankful for all the comments, likes, and subs to my channel due to my last video. And if you want to be a part of that, giving a like and subscribing would be very thankful. I promise I'll get better at this in the future. Okay, so let's do a brief history. Opening in 1959, Busch Gardens Tampa was originally a nature park composed of animals primarily in the bird variety that was constructed by Anheuser-Busch to go alongside the Tampa Bay brewery. By the end of 2009, the original park of 15 acres expanded to 335 acres, housed a wide variety of animals that are synonymous with Africa, and was home to 5 roller coasters. And it's only 5 because at that time, the Aero Corkscrew roller coaster named the Python was removed. 2009 was also a pivotal year for the park because that's when SeaWorld Entertainment took over operations. Today, the park is still going strong with an impressive 10 coaster lineup, although I'll only be reviewing 6 of them because when I went in the spring of 2021, Sam's Serpent and Cobra's Curse were closed, Iron Gwazi was still preparing for that fall opening, and as I mentioned in my other coaster count videos, I don't ride kiddie coasters, but I'm sure Air Grover is a great ride for future enthusiasts. Cheetah Hunt is the first Intamin Blitz coaster that I have been on, and let me tell you, this ride borders on that line of extreme and family, leaning more towards extreme with that Heartline roll and that 60-mile-per-hour top speed. This ride features a mix of terrain segments along with near misses and some amazing views you get on the top of the canopy. The 3 launches of this ride are great, but it's the second launch that runs parallel to the area's pathway that makes this ride special. Because on the other side of the pathway is an animal exhibit called the Cheetah Run, where you can see one of Busch Gardens' cheetahs go the exact same speed as the second boost of Cheetah Hunt. Because this coaster is so close to the entrance, Cheetah Hunt is notorious for long wait times, even with that double loading platform. But don't let that deter you from riding this coaster. I got to go on this ride 3 times due to my quick queue, and every ride was just as smooth as the other. If you're looking for good pops of airtime, I say sit towards the back, but if you want that true sense of speed, you'll want to head to the front seats. Montu is an elite roller coaster created by B&M that opened way back in 1996. Yeah, this is a 26-year-old roller coaster, but due to major tender love and care over the decades, it still rides like new and is one of the best B&M inverted coasters that I've personally been on. Being placed at one of the dead ends of the park, Montu stands as a centerpiece for the park area that allows some spectacular off-ride footage. Speaking more for the ride, the only way that I can describe it is to think of the Batman clones that are synonymous with most Six Flags parks, increase the height, the length, and add 2 more inversions to a total of 7, and that gives you Montu. Despite the 150-foot max height, Montu stays low to the ground for the majority of the ride, and frequently goes lower than that via the use of trenches. This ride gives out a force of 3.8 Gs on your body, and offers some great pacing with consistent intensity after that first drop. Okay, let's talk about that theming. Montu is named after the Egyptian god of war, and the ride station and general area is reminiscent of an archaeological dig site. The surrounding area plays hard into that theme, and did so more when the ride first opened when they had a Nile crocodile exhibit located underneath the first turnout of the station. I rode Montu 2 times, and I gotta say that ride gets more fierce in the heat of the day. Scorpion is one of only 3 Schwarzkopf Silver Arrow models remaining, where instead of having layouts like you would see on rides like Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas or Riddler Mindbender at Six Flags Over Georgia, this coaster has a layout that goes through the loop and ends with a helix. Due to its compactness, one would assume this ride pulls off some impressive lateral forces, and I'm here to say that you're correct because Scorpion pulls 3.5 Gs. However, this coaster does have some noticeable pacing issues after that loop, with that element being the only notable moment in my opinion. Speaking more for the history of this coaster, Scorpion is the oldest operating coaster at Busch Gardens, with its opening in May of 1980. Unlike Montu, this 42-year-old coaster is showing its age, from its roughness to the ride to the queue line capacity. This park gets packed pretty often, and even though this isn't the worst line for a roller coaster at this park, it really doesn't have good capacity, primarily due to that one train operation. Kumba is yet another massive 7 inversion roller coaster at Busch Gardens created by B&M, but this time it's a sitting coaster model like Incredible Hulk at Universal's Island of Adventure or Wildfire at Silver Dollar City. Kumba is both picturesque and memorable due to it having the lift tail going through the 114-foot tall vertical loop. Another noteworthy moment is the two interlocking corkscrews that are even more mesmerizing when you traverse it. This coaster makes great use of its terrain with tunnels and travels over and under pathways. Knowing that this was their first sit-down model created, B&M knocked it out of the park and set a precedent for every future steel roller coaster. Despite being almost 30 years old, the only rough part of the ride that I've experienced was the start of the interlocking corkscrews. On the basis of force, you'll want to ride in the back to get the greatest amount of positive and negative G's on Kumba. I recommend that you ride this classic roller coaster because who knows how long this ride will last at Busch Gardens. Although it did just get a repaint, so it might be here for a little while longer. Tigris is a clone Skyrocket 2 roller coaster created by Premier Rides. This coaster model and experience is present at two other SeaWorld parks, Busch Gardens Williamsburg as Tempesto and SeaWorld San Diego as Electric Eel. Despite their repetitiveness, Tigris does allow a unique experience at the park due to it being the only swing launch coaster here. That swing launch creates a spectacle for onlookers waiting in line as the ride passes multiple times through the station. Tigris accelerates to a top speed of 62 miles per hour on its third launch and quickly rises you up to the max height of 150 feet. I know that the eye-catching aspect of the ride is that inline twist, but that didn't really excite me. What actually thrilled me on this ride is that drop after. If you ride in the back, you're going to get whipped on this part, as the majority of the train has already started twisting on the non-inverting loop. And on the front, that track dips underneath you, and you get an awesome lateral force. These are all the upsides to Tigris. The only main downside is the one train operation. Because of the swing launch, Tigris can only run one train, and this leads to lengthy waiting times more than Cheetah Hunt, making it the worst coaster for ride capacity at this park. Thankfully, I had my quick queue and I got to ride this twice because it was looking to be an hour plus wait at least that day. It still confuses me on why such a low capacity roller coaster is here at a park that gets an average attendance of over 3 million guests a year. In terms of ride capacity, SheiKra is a bus compared to Tigris' Smart Car. This B&M dive coaster has 3 cars per train arranged in rows of 8 seats per row, totaling at 24 riders per train. With a 200-foot max height and a 90-degree vertical drop, SheiKra puts the new Dr. Diabolical's cliffhanger at Six Flags Fiesta Texas to shame. There are 3 parts of this ride that need to be talked about more in my opinion. First, that panoramic 180-degree turn at the top of the lift hill. You don't see the park that much, but it's a great way to build anticipation. And before the first drops when the holding brakes kick in, front row riders get to see an unobstructed view of Busch Gardens. The second part is a second drop into a tunnel. I don't know why, but to see that this tunnel goes underneath the splashdown part of the ride is so cool to me. And, of course, the third part is a splashdown that has a hidden double purpose for SheiKra. The obvious reason is for the spectacle of it, and that it can splash onlookers along the pathway, but the more technical intention behind it is the water break. The splash you see on SheiKra and other B&M roller coasters like Diamondback at Kings Island or SheiKra's sister coaster Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg acts like a trim brake, allowing for the train to slow down. The fact that this is placed into the crowd-pleasing roller coasters of parks is no coincidence, as SheiKra is considered a GP magnet. In other words, it gets more attention from general patrons in the park. In regards to seat placement, pick the front row for a breathtaking view, and pick the back to fill more airtime pops on the ride. Although there are 3 other non-kiddie rides in this park, I didn't get a chance to ride them, meaning my coaster credits for this park are incomplete. I need to go back to this park, primarily to ride Iron Gwazi, but also to experience Cobra's Curse and the Wild Mouse Sand Serpent. While I didn't get to experience all that this park had to offer, I still deem this park my favorite park because of all the attention to detail in their theming, their cleanliness, friendliness, and most importantly, their park operations. If you've been looking for a park in Florida that's geared more towards coaster enthusiasts, has a lineup of extreme roller coasters, animal exhibits, and quality shows, then Busch Gardens Tampa is the park for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. I'm on the hunt to reach 1,000 subscribers and I'm currently more than halfway there. You can make that goal a reality by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Lastly, I just want to say thank you for watching and remember to stay united.